But moving on to some horror movies.
Hmm.
Starting with Hereditary. So I confused this movie with A Cure for Wellness. Um, and kept wondering when DanDaDan was going to show up. And DanDaDan not in this movie. I was so confused. I was like, "Where's DanDaDan? The movie's almost over. Why hasn't DanDaDan showed up?" Uh, but if you don't know who DanDaDan is, he's like one of the main characters in a Chronicle.
Mm.
He also played Harry Osborn in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I was confused for a completely different movie because of that. I was surprised by everything that happened in this movie because I was thinking it was something else in it, not the entirety. Um, and yeah, it was a very good movie. The synopsis for the movie goes: when the matriarch of the Graham family passes away, her daughter and grandchildren begin to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry, trying to outrun the sinister fate they have inherited. Oh, I just read that wrong. That was a whole sentence. There was a comma there, but yeah, it's a good movie. I suggest it. I know you don't watch horror stuff
mm.
like that because but like it's a
I've,
fun movie.
see, I've been like moving more into watching horror movies, um, because of my girlfriend who's really into them. So it's like I'm always, not always, but like more often than not, I'm a partially willing second party, because she'll be like, "I'll put on this horror movie," and I'll watch it with her and be scared the whole. But I'll watch it. Um,
Mm.
that's how it happened with like Jigsaw, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which I think is it's horrifying to me personally. Um, and stuff like that. And then also, if not watching them directly, I'll watch like the kill counts by
Yeah,
James A. Janice on
yeah.
them,
Did meet.
which is like just yeah, which is like just enough where it's like I can get the horror movie experience without the fear and the gore and the whatnot.
Yeah, did meet's great.
Very great, very great.
But yeah, I watched the Blair Witch Project at the Parkway Theater here in Baltimore, and I met
I
the
was playing.
co-director Eduardo
Oh,
Sanchez.
sick.
Yes, it was dope. Um, it was really cool. Being able to meet him and then
Sounds
ask some
cool.
questions. The movie wasn't what I expected. Oh, by the way, this is my first time seeing the Blair Witch Project, and I saw it
Really?
while also meeting the director, which is dope.
Very dope.
And yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. It was more of it was way funnier than I thought it would be. But also it was more
Mm-hmm.
of just a bunch of kids, college kids, getting lost in the woods than it was like a horror movie. And then it was like them kind of jumping at shadows and getting angry at each other for the most part.
Yeah.
The synopsis for this movie, if you don't know, after the past 25 years it's been,
Yep.
um, it
25
is
years? Really?
yeah. It was
Oof.
yeah. I think the event they were holding was to like celebrate the anniversary. So
Mhm.
so it's a found footage movie that tells the tale of three film students, uh, who've traveled to a small town to collect documentary footage about the Blair Witch, a legendary local murderer. Over the course of several days, the students interview townspeople and gather clues to support the tale's veracity. But the project takes a frightening turn when the students lose their way in the woods and begin hearing horrific noises. So, the movie, of course, birthed the found footage genre, which there are
Right.
a lot of now. And it's referenced in Resident Evil 7. It's because of that I knew exactly what the ending of the movie looked like. Also, I'd seen the kill count, but I barely remembered anything from it, and I might rewatch it soon. But yeah, it's a good movie. I definitely suggest it if you've never seen Blair Witch Project.
I
Oh,
actually have, believe it or not. That is one horror movie that I have watched.
mm,
Probably when I was way too young to watch it, and it did scare me a little bit. But from what I can remember, it was just more like unnerving than anything, which I really.
yeah. So I watched after that Longlegs, a movie
Mm.
that came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was apprehensive about this movie based on the trailers, so I didn't see it in theaters. But some of the reviews comparing it to Alan Wake made me interested in checking it out when it
Mm.
came out digitally. Because I talked about before how Alan Wake is a game series that doesn't interest me gameplay wise, but if it was a movie, I'd
Right.
probably love it. And I did really like this movie. But I do see why it has mixed reviews. The cinematography is gorgeous, and it's a very
Mm.
pretty film to look at. But to some people, the story felt too derivative of films like Silence of the Lambs, and some people
Mm,
found it slow and the methodical pace a little boring. But essentially, critics love it, and the average audience is mixed. Um,
I see.
the movie is about FBI agent Lee Harker, who is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. So the main killer is played by Nick Cage.
Yeah.
And yeah, very surprising. During the marketing, they hid what he looked like for a very long time because they put him in prosthetics and he looks different. You'll look at Longlegs' face and they look like both. They look like Nick Cage and not at the same time. It's really weird. And Nick Cage does his Nick Cage thing. He's weird. He does some weird stuff.
Right.
It's fun. They just said, you know what, Nick Cage, just do your thing. Just be weird.
Just let him loose.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I liked it a lot. It's a very fun movie. Very much a thriller. It's a good movie. If you've seen Silence of the Lambs, it is very similar. And if you like that, you'll probably like this.
Hmm.
Last but not least, I watched Barbarian. Another surprising movie. I wanted to see it in theaters back in 2022, but some plans fell through. And this movie takes an unexpected turn that you would not have picked up from watching the trailers. And I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil the experience for anybody else. But like halfway through the movie, there's a big switch that's surprising. Or not even halfway, like pretty early on. Maybe like 1/3 of the way there. So the movie is about a young woman who discovers the rental home she booked is already occupied by a stranger. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the night, but soon discovers there's a lot more to fear than an unexpected house guest. Yeah, that aspect is what interested me in the trailers, where it's just lady, she goes to the house, and all of a sudden one of the Skarsgård many children are there. The one that played Pennywise. Despite
Is
that,
it Bill, I think?
what Bill Skarsgård?
Bill
Yeah.
Skarsgård. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's his name. And yeah, and she goes there, and it's in the middle of a completely abandoned neighborhood in Detroit, where it's just this is the only house that's built up. The rest of them are torn. It's I hate to say this, it's low key like West Side of Baltimore. That's what the neighborhood looked like. I mean no disrespect. I do not need West Side people coming here and jumping me. Okay, leave. It was a joke. I promise you. West Side's great. Okay, leave me alone. But yeah. You see it and you go like, why you go home, or not go home but go into the city and find somewhere else to stay, because he wasn't that far from a city. It was not that far outside of Detroit, so it's like, go somewhere that's not here. And yeah, it's a
Right.
good movie. Yeah, the whole movie you're going to be saying that because she does a bunch of really stupid horror movie trope stuff that just is annoying but also entertaining.